welcome to Too Fond of Books. My name is Janelle and this is Murder Mystery Monday. Today's recommendation is a book that I've talked about before on my channel, but I realized that I've never recommended it specifically for Murder Mystery Monday, so I wanted to do that today, and that is Picture Miss Seeton by Heron Carvic. This is the first in the Miss Seeton mystery series, and it was written in 1968. When Miss Seeton walks out of a performance of Carmen and witnesses a real-life stabbing, all she can recall is a shadowy figure. But how could even she have guessed that her latest artistic endeavor is a picture-perfect portrait of the killer? Her caricature, however, puts her in a perilous position, for back at her rustic cottage in Plummerton, she's fated to be a sitting duck for murder most foul. Meet Emily Seeton. Retired art teacher, Miss Seeton steps in where Scotland Yard stumbles. Armed with only her sketch pad and umbrella, she is every inch an eccentric English spinster and the most lovable and unlikely master of detection. I really love the Miss Seeton stories, and they've had an interesting journey because Heron Carvic wrote 5, and then another author a few years later decided to write 3 more. And then a few years later, another writer took them on and wrote a whole bunch. So I think that that's great that she lives on through numerous writers kind of taking up the baton. This is, like I said, it was published in 1968. So keep that in mind. There is going to be viewpoints or things that are, you know, that was the way it was in 1968. That's not the way it is anymore. So keep that in mind. But I do really like the character of Miss Seeton. According to Amarillo News, not since Agatha Christie's Miss Marple has there been a more lovable female dabbler in crime and suspense. I love that she's a retired art teacher and she uses those skills to help her solve the mysteries. There's a lot of humor in the Miss Seeton books. I laughed out loud numerous times while I was reading this one. It also has, even though it starts with her in the city and that's where the murder takes place, the bulk of the action takes place in her village of Plummerton, and so I love that village feel to the books as well. Chapter 1. L'amour est tam de something, so colorful. Not romantic, no, one couldn't call it that. If anything, perhaps a trifle sordid. Carmen, herself, for instance, no better than she should be. In fact, if one were frank, worse. And the other girl, the young one, it was difficult to feel sorry for her. Her fiancé, quite obsessed with his mother, obviously weak and easily influenced, would have made a most unsatisfactory husband in any case. Still, for him to stab Carmen at the end like that, so unnecessary, almost contrived. Though of course, one must not forget that foreigners felt differently about these matters. One read that people abroad did frequently get emotional and kill each other. Probably the heat. Miss Seeton stepped aside to avoid a pile of crates. She peered at them. Seville oranges. How interesting. Spain. Such an odd coincidence. One might almost think that one was back in one's seat at the theater with the warm glow of the lights. Qui n'a jamais tam something. Cracked, yes. Off key, yes. But a warm glow had started up inside Miss Seeton. Her visit to the opera tonight was really in the nature of a celebration. Tomorrow morning she would set out on an adventure. No, that was putting it too strongly. Set out upon a new way of life. Or at least the beginning of a new way, which would be, of course, in its way, an adventure. For her. So I love that. I love this style of writing where you're totally inside her head and kind of like getting her reminiscences and you know, as she's thinking as she leaves the theater. So yes, I really love Miss Seeton, and so I am happy to recommend Picture Miss Seeton by Heron Carvic. Have you read any from this series? Have you read any from the other authors? One is Hampton Charles and the other is Hamilton Crane, I think. Anyway, Heron Carvic wrote 5, and this is the first one, Picture Miss Seeton, and so that is my recommendation for today's Murder Mystery Monday video. I will see you for another video soon. Bye.